day two. Hello, everybody. It's day two in Louisiana. Coming to you live from Bossier City. We're going to try to have a good time. Lighting is a little messed up. Lighting was great yesterday, but I don't have a table anymore, so there's no place for me to put my stuff, so we're going to see how this goes. Carolyn Greg's Ledger with the gold medal tonight. That is awesome. Hello, Darla Stordo. How are you? And Susie, that's right. The ladies are coming on strong. It's Carolyn with the gold, Darla with the silver, and Susie with the bronze medal. That is awesome. I'm so glad you guys are here. And holy smokes, and we got a lot to talk about. You know, for the last hour, I've been sitting here making my notes. And it's been, oh my goodness, it's absolutely the craziest thing. Hey, that's right. St. Patrick's Day's coming. Carolyn Greg's Ledger says she got lucky. I don't believe that for a second, Carolyn. I think that you are probably on this every day. And I'm so happy that you tune in every day. I really am. So I cannot tell you how much I appreciate everybody being here. So, all right, are we ready to do this? I think that I'm ready to do this. Let me make sure I get the music down at the end of this little verse thing here. That's right. It's a solo by Matt Ollie. All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mickey in the Middle, the quintessential show for Middle Americans, where all Middle Americans are welcome. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you are on. It doesn't matter what your proclivity is towards politics. It doesn't matter as long as you are a Middle American. It doesn't matter where you've been, doesn't matter where you're going, just matters that you're here right now trying to make the best for Middle Americans, because Middle America is what makes America great. It's not the super rich. It's not the politicians. It's not the special interests. It's not the political parties. It's you. It's people like you that are just out there in the world trying to make it. You know, I'll give you a great example. You know, there's people all over this country, and all they're trying to do is be able to raise a family, get an education, go to work, provide for themselves, provide for those that are around them, put a roof over their head, clothes on their back, fuel in their vehicles, and that's pretty much all that they want out of life. You know, be able to go down to Disney every once in a while, maybe Six Flags, and be able to, you know, live a normal, decent life where you got food in your belly and a roof over your head. And it's not really hard to ask. The United States government has been growing for 240, oh my gosh, it's so many years. Almost 250 years. And all I can say about that is, let's see, 76, so 26. So we're about 45 years into this, 245 years into this. They keep making rules. The more rules that they make, the more rules they are imposing on you as a Middle American. Every time that they try to do something, they just pile on. And then they make these agencies like the Department of Commerce or Department of Transportation or Department of Education, the Department of Wildlife Management. They just, and every one of those bureaucratic agencies is basically making more rules. The only difference between Congress and the people that the bureaucratic messes that they create are the bureaucratic messes have absolutely no oversight other than Congress, and Congress lets them do whatever they want. And the only time that they get challenged is if somebody takes them to court. And it's absolutely ridiculous. So you're not allowed to live your life. You have barely any freedom left. I'm just glad that we have the Constitution of the United States of America so that we have certain unalienable rights, like those in the First Amendment, Second Amendment, Third, Fourth, Fifth, 10th, right? The 10th, the original 10 amendments that are basically, you know, the big 10 that give all of us certain unalienable rights that cannot be taken away from our government. Joe Biden the other day said that no right is sacrosanct, and I'm paraphrasing, no right that is given by the United States government is completely unlimited. That is correct. We do have limits on certain things, but they're supposed to be the minimum that we have limits to our rights. So, with that, welcome to the show, everybody. I just want you to know I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you guys being here. I really, really do appreciate it. So, what I want to do tonight is I've got a lot of notes. I've got all these notes right here, and then I've got these notes right here. And tonight, we're going to be talking about cryptocurrency. And I have invested in cryptocurrency. I pulled my money out of the crypto markets. And I don't have the greatest grasp of cryptocurrencies, but I know enough to get me in trouble, and I know enough to inform you. So what I want to do is I want to do a slight recap of my day down here in Louisiana. Then I want to get into what is the state of the world, because the state of the world is critically important. If you're a middle American, everything that happens in the world directly or indirectly affects you. And we're going to talk just briefly on that, and then I'm going to, hopefully I won't spend too long on that, because I really want to get to cryptocurrency, because when I get to cryptocurrency, I'm going to tell you some things that you might not know about cryptocurrency. And when you find out those things, then you're going to go, should the United States government or should not the United States government get involved in cryptocurrency? Because I've got a lot to say about that. All right, so Louisiana day 2. Everything is out of the house except me. I'm in my dad's house. He passed away in November. We've been getting ready to sell the house. Everybody's doing a great job. My sister Christy's been taking care of this place. She's got everything out. She had a estate sale. She's got some stuff over her house that she's holding for my brother, my sister, me, everybody else. It's absolutely fantastic. Chris has been doing a great job. Cammie, who's the executor of the estate, is over there in Mississippi. She's responsible for selling the house and doing distribution of assets and stuff like that. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate her. She's doing an unbelievably fantastic job over there in Mississippi. My sister Kelly, who's up in Washington State. We got siblings all over the United States of America. So Kel is up there in Washington State. She is the smart one of the bunch, and she's the executive mindset that's helping us keep it all together and making sure that all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed. And then we have my brother Scott, who's over in Georgia. That's right. My sister's in Washington. My brother's in Georgia. It might be a good thing that they are separated by the entire continental United States. I say that jokingly, but I have to admit that one of them is more conservative than the other, and the other is more liberal than the other. So it might be best that they're on the east and west coasts. So, but my brother Scott, he was going to come over, because this is the way that this is how awesome my brother is. There was a rock that my mom had in a garden that weighs about 50 pounds. And my brother Scott was like, I would like that rock to remind me of Mom, and I would like to put it in my rock garden. And he's the heart and soul of Spillane family. So big shout out to my brother Scott. So, but we're doing okay. So the garage is clean. If anybody needs a dryer, we got a dryer that works that nobody wanted. Nobody wanted to buy it. Nobody wanted to take it. The people that were doing charities who we tried to give it to didn't want it. So we got a, if you know somebody in Beauchamp, Louisiana that needs a dryer, if they can get a hold of me tomorrow before noon when I leave here, they're more than welcome to have the dryer sitting in the garage waiting for somebody to pick up. And then, let's see, then my sister and my niece Tegan and I went out to dinner at the Olive Garden, because that's what Americans do, right? We're trying to keep the economy going, and Patrick was our server, and he did an absolutely fabulous job. And I'm just going to tell you, dinner at the Olive Garden was good. So, with that being said, what is the state of the world? Okay. This is the way that I see it, and the following statement is why I'm taking my show from G-rated most of the time to PG-rated, because I believe that I need to start calling people out exactly the way that I see the situation. So we're going to take it up to a PG. There's not going to be any nudity. There's not going to be any sexual content. However, there might be a curse word every now and then. And the next statement that I'm about to make is taking me from a G show to a PG show. The state of the world. Russia is still causing trouble, and Vladimir Putin is still a dick. That's about it. Now the world is worried about him using chemical weapons and biological weapons and nuclear weapons in Ukraine. Poland said that they would give all of their Russian-made fighters to Ukraine to be backfilled by the United States of America, and the United States of America then went, you know that's not going to help, right? So we're not going to give you any of our fighters to backfill whatever you give to Ukraine. So if you ship fighters to Ukraine, then Russia is going to see that as an aggressive act of war and participation in the war. So now all of a sudden Poland, here's the deal, they were under a dictatorship for a really long time until Walesa, I think that was his name, Walesa, until he and the unions in Poland broke the back of the Communist Party, and then they became a free and independent state in Poland. And then we had a Polish Pope, and now Poland is one of our greatest allies. We actually have American troops that are stationed in Poland as part of a peace, as part of a partnership. So for those of you who do not know, we actually have a base in Poland where American troops regularly hang out and work with the Poles, just like we have troops in Germany, troops in South Korea, troops in Spain, troops in Great Britain, everywhere except France, because France kicked us out because, once again, they're French. So we got troops all over the world, and including in Poland, and we got to be really, really careful the way that we take on that state of emergency that's happening in Poland and Ukraine, and because we're dealing with Russia, and Vlad's a dick, and Russia is going to do whatever he says. So if he says bomb a nuclear plant, they're going to bomb a nuclear plant. If he says drop a nuke, they're going to drop a nuke. So Vlad is the problem. But the big news story is that we are not going to backfill Poland's giving fighters to Ukraine, because our military officials say that even if that happens, it's not going to change the military dynamic that's happened in Ukraine right now. So Ukraine is holding its own. However, the president of Ukraine has said that he's going to back down with his request to join NATO, which now takes pressure off the NATO nations, and they can provide them humanitarian relief and some secret arms in order to fight and keep that in Ukraine. So as he backs down off the statements that he wants to join NATO, that takes a little bit of the pressure off and gives Vlad a way to ease tensions over there, although he's not going to, but that's the excuse. All of our politicians are morons. It doesn't matter whether they're in the White House, whether they're in Congress. They are just absolute morons on both sides of the aisle. They are still not cooperating with each other. They still both have totally separate ideas. They're diametrically opposed to each other in the philosophy and the way that we need to be moving our country forward. So that is why Operation 535, which is at operation535.com, needs to go forward. We need to get everybody in Congress out. They are ineffective. They are partisan. They are driven by special interests and the political parties, and they do not have, oh, my nose itches. They do not have the best interests of the United States of America in mind when they do that. So that's all I got to say about our moronic politicians today. Gas is out of control. Let me see if I can find this real quick. Where is it? These are the prices in Florida, down at South Palm Beach. Let me make that big. These are the prices down there. So the Outlaw Morgan has got prices as high as $464 in the north, $427 in the South Palm Beach, Florida. High price is $4.70, $4.90. So I see $4.90. That's absolutely insane too. So So yeah, gas prices are out of control. Like I told you here yesterday, they were $4.10 in Bossier City, Louisiana. I didn't go check the price of gas today, but it's $5 for a gallon of diesel. And there's more on that coming up in the show. And then inflation is going to get the middle class. I cannot tell you why this is important enough. I cannot tell you enough why this is important. This is going to affect you, just gas prices alone. The gas prices alone are going to affect you by $3,000 to $5,000 this year if they remain where they are. But the price of a barrel of oil is expected to rise further than it is right now at $115 a barrel. So if it goes up, that's going to affect you. But here's where the secondary and third order effects are. The second and third order effects are everything that a small business does, everything that a large business does, they've got to get supplies. They've got to send out products. That means that gas is going to affect every single one of those processes. And that means that if gas prices alone are going to get you to $3,000 to $5,000 this year, what is it doing to people that are not doing that well, that are living paycheck to paycheck? How are they supposed to get to work? How are they supposed to take their kids to school? How are they supposed to live their life in the modern day society in which we have, which is we have a dispersed society because we have freedom and you can live wherever you want to live. So if you don't want to live in an apartment, Cracker Jack apartment in New York City, if you want to live in the country, if you want to raise some carrots or some broccoli or some tomatoes, if you want to have a little bit of space to grow a garden, if you don't want to have a neighbor living above you or below you or beside you, if you don't want to live in crowded, smog-filled with parking lots that are just packed with cars, if you don't want to take public transportation, if you want to live somewhere else, they're making it almost impossible for you to do that. And the administration is blaming other people for their policies. So the other day, I heard yesterday and today, and then Jen Psaki, when I was watching the press corps talk to the press secretary for the President of the United States, she said there are 9,000 unused leases in the United States of America. Okay, let me explain what a lease is. A lease is a piece of ground that before you can go in there and explore, the federal government takes a pencil and they draw a square. And then they divide the square up into multiple sections. And so if you have 9,000 of these, that means that they took large chunks of land and they divided them up into multiple sections. So if you could have one, I can divide my property, which is 6 acres, into 6 different leases. If I divide it every acre in half, by the way, I don't live there. That's a pond. It's mainly wet with fish. I happen to own a pond that's about 6 acres. But if I take that and I say you can drill on that, there's 6 leases. If I divide that up, every acre into a half, that's 12 leases. If I divide it into quarters, that is 6 times 4, 6, 12, 18, 20. That's 24 leases. And inside of those leases, it does not mean that there's any gas there, because you're not allowed to explore the leases that the federal government has until you get the leases. And you could come up with bupkis. And here's what the deal is. All of those are bid on blind by the petroleum companies before they're allowed to go and look at the land. So their geologists have to guess whether there's going to be any gas there. So just because you have a lease does not mean that you've explored it. Just because you've explored a lease does not mean that there's any gas there. Just if there's any gas there, it might not be profitable for you to drill into that and extract it, because then not only do you have to extract it from the earth, but you also have to go get it to a refinery, and you have to have it refined, and then you have to have it shipping, and then you have all of these costs associated with it. So you can have 9,000 blanks out there on federal land that they're not allowed to do it. Now, I would like to remind everybody that day one of Joe Biden's presidency, he said, we're suspending all offshore oil exploration. There will be no more oil exploration in any federal water off the coast of the United States of America. That goes all the way to Alaska, down California, across Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida, all the way up the East Coast, on the other side of Florida, in Georgia, in South Carolina, North Carolina. I think I'm missing a state in there, right? All the way up through Maryland and New York and Rhode Island, Massachusetts, all the way up to Maine. So he suspended all that. He also said, hey, no more drilling in ANWR, which is one of the largest oil producing spots that we have in the United States of America. And then he shut off a pipeline that literally shut off it would have increased the Canadian supply of oil and oil shale production in Canada. He dropped 20 to 25% capability because he said we're not going to finish this pipeline. So yeah, he shuts off a pipeline, shuts off offshore oil drilling. He shuts down ANWR, and then all of a sudden he goes, "Hey, but there's 9,000 leases out there." Oh, thank God for Joe Biden and the administration. Just because there's 9,000 doesn't mean that there's anything there. It doesn't mean that it's economically feasible to be able to pull out of the ground. And even if they did that starting right now, that fuel and that oil, they're not going to be able to explore, drill, and get anything out for at least 2 years, because that's the way the system works. And as soon as they start doing that, environmental groups jump in, and the environmental groups go, oh, we got to save the planet. And then just like last night when I was talking about battery-powered, solar-powered, electric-powered vehicles and all of that, we don't have the infrastructure in order to make that work for our economy. What in the hell are those morons doing up there? Because that is the reality in which we face. And what has Congress done about that? Congress has done nothing about that. Executive fiat. That's the way that Joe Biden is. He's acting like a dictator. He's like, I'm making a rule. I'm going to pass a administrative document that basically says that I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do. So that's oil in the United States. I am so sorry that this is taking so long. I apologize. Hold on. Let me get rid of this. Let me get this right here. So, all right. So, inflation is going to get the middle class. So, by the way, this is still the state of the world. Southern border is still a mess. Did you know in February that 76,000 people came through and were caught? That's not counting the people that didn't get caught, but that's 76,000. That's larger. That is more people than in every single city in Arkansas except for, oh, wait a minute, that's not right. I lied to you. I don't know what that number is. But here's what the deal is. 76,000 people. That's enough people coming across our southern border, undocumented, that are being released into the United States of America, that we have got to provide hospitals for, that we've got to provide education for, that we've got to find jobs for, that we've got to be able to take care of if they're not allowed to make it on their own. I'm just saying, do we have the infrastructure to bring in 175 to 100,000 people? By the way, 76,000 people is more than double what the number was last year at the exact same time frame in February, according to the people that do that kind of stuff. So, the People's Convoy is still up in Washington. So the whole idea was to circle the Beltway, slow traffic down just a little bit, not cause any trouble, don't break any rules. They're on like day 4 of doing that, but it started raining, and they said instead of doing that, we're going to just go ahead and take a day off. So they took a day off. They're not blocking up a Beltway, and then they met with senators and Congress people from the House of Representatives in order to talk about this, but it's not going to do any good. And the reason it's not going to do any good is because Congress doesn't do anything. I don't care what side of the aisle you are on. Congress just bloviates, blah, blah, blah. They're orators, rhetoric, if you will. And what do? They don't do shit. So it doesn't matter if you go up there and talk to Congress. If you're not having a direct effect on the executive branch of the United States government, because they do everything with executive orders and by executive fiat, if you're not talking directly to those people, which makes this a communist state, right? The executive branch has all the power. Congress has none of the power. The executive branch does whatever they want, and I want you to think about that. One person is making all of the rules for the southern border. One person is making all of the rules on freedoms in America. One person is making all the rules about how we interact with Russia and with Ukraine, and on the economy, and on oil and gas, and on solar, and how we treat Canadians, and all of that other stuff. One person. That's bullshit. We should get rid of everybody in Congress, and Congress needs to take the ball back. All righty, here we go. We are finally getting into crypto. Let me see how much time I've already wasted on this. Uh-oh, wait a minute. All right, oh my gosh, we're 26 minutes in. I am so sorry, everybody. I am so sorry. All right, here we go. Crypto. We're going to talk about three things real quick. It's going to take about 10 minutes. Number one, what is crypto? Number two, I'm going to talk about the federal government and what they're planning on doing, because Joe Biden just issued a, what did I say? The executive memo or whatever, executive order that says that they need to investigate crypto, and why this is bad for you and me as middle Americans if Joe Biden and all the people in the world that are in power get a hold of the crypto markets and regulate it into non-existence. Okay, so let's start off with what is crypto. Crypto is nothing. I would like to repeat that. Crypto is nothing. Crypto is a digital asset. It's a idea that says, hey, look here, I have this digital asset. Now, this is pretend, because a digital asset is made up of zeros and one, and when I say digital, it's a made-up number, and I'm going to use it, I'm going to say this little bitty teeny-weeny football is a crypto. Now, there's nothing you can touch with a crypto. There is nothing, it's all online, and it's all digitally regulated. The cool thing about the crypto is that it is encrypted to the point that only one person can own a crypto at a time. Now, the cryptos are Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe Dogecoin, right? Dogecoin made a big blast before the Super Bowl last year. So anyway, there's only one of these. And when somebody makes crypto, they go, hey, look here, I'm going to make crypto, and I'm going to make either a finite number of crypto coins, or I'm going to make crypto where they increase and they add a little bit more crypto coins to the piggy bank. Now, Bitcoin, there's only a finite number of Bitcoin coins that can be out there. So this would represent a digital asset, which is a nothing, but there's only a finite number of them, and they're very, very secure, right? Anything can be hacked, and Bitcoin has been hacked. So somebody creates crypto, and they say, we're going to have 1 million of these cryptos. And then people go, wow, that's pretty awesome. How do I get some of those cryptos? And they go, well, you pay me money, and I'll give you one of them. And they go, okay, that's awesome. How do I get one of those if I pay you money? So there's a transaction that occurs. Somebody pays somebody money to transfer from that original stack of crypto that was created out of thin air, one of those coins in exchange for money. And this is where it gets interesting, because the way that crypto works is there's a great big huge thing called the blockchain. The blockchain is a series of algorithms and mathematical formulas that say on the very tail end that you bought one crypto from this other person and now you own that digital asset. And then that is checkable to anybody that looks at the crypto chain. That everybody that looks at the blockchain goes, okay, we started with a stack of crypto over here and this person bought one. And that is a done deal. And we're going to have computers all over the world that can verify that that happened. So that's what a crypto farm is. A crypto farm is cracking these codes to come up with what the next part of the blockchain is. So how efficient are these things? These things are not efficient at all. As a matter of fact, you got to run millions and millions and millions of lines of program in order to come up with a cryptographic code that says that this crypto went over here and then every other transaction that's happening in the world. So they had a stack of crypto and now somebody's got one of them. This is why this is important. It's a digital asset. That digital asset that was made up now has value because somebody invented it and somebody bought it. The crazy thing is that that person now has it, but it's out there in the ether. So that person has to have a place to store it, and that is called a digital wallet. And inside the digital wallet, only the person that knows the cryptographic keys in order to open up the wallet to put the crypto in there and then they close it, that means that only one person knows that series of passwords in order to get that crypto. And that's what makes it secure. So although it's all online and although crypto doesn't really exist, now you have something inside of a wallet or inside of a little vault that only that person knows how. And if that person wants to then trade some of that for goods, trade some of that for more crypto, trade some of that for money, trade something that's in his wallet for anything that's out there in the world, then all of a sudden he's got to open up he's got to open it up the thing. And the way that you do that is by using this long blockchain, and then it transfers using this long blockchain that everybody can see, and then that digital asset is transferred to somebody else in exchange for goods, services, or anything else that's in the world. That is how crypto works. Then that crypto goes to another person, and that person ends up getting money or land or a taco or a burrito or a pizza or a piece of furniture or a car. People have bought cars, boats, tickets to the Super Bowl. You can buy anything with crypto now. Many stores are now accepting crypto as payment. Now, why is this important to you? Because the way that currency works in the world is currency is something that a government comes up with that is either backed by a hard asset like gold, silver, titanium, or something, or they just made it up. A long time ago, we came off of the gold standard, and our money is now made up. So we don't have any hard asset that is backing up our currency, much like digital currency and crypto doesn't have a hard asset backing up crypto. So crypto is exactly like currencies all over the world. So the American currency, the Chinese currency, the South Korean currency, the Turkish currency, Spanish. So that's why they can be exchanged. So each crypto coin has a value. That value can be interpreted in dollars, in yen, in Canadian dollars, in the British sterling, pound. It can be in the euro. It can be transferred and traded just like real money. Here's the thing. You can't take crypto and bury it in your backyard. It has to stay online. Right now, I can go to a bank and I can pull out all my money, I can stuff it in a mason jar, I can bury it in the backyard, and that legal tender is now mine. I now have something that says, as a document, I now have $100, and that's what a $100 bill is. It represents the currency. But online, there is none of that. So that means if somebody hacks in, or if somebody is controlling the system and somebody's now issuing the currency and the crypto, that means that they now have control of all of the crypto. That means that you're not safe with your wallet because somebody else is managing all of the assets. And that's what the problem is with government getting into crypto. If government is managing this, that means that anything that the government gives you digitally, the government can take away. They can shut you down. They can shut off your access. They can block your communications. They can take your wallet. They can take anything. That means that if they have the ability to do that, that means that that form of currency is no good again. The thing that makes crypto great is because if you have a crypto coin, you don't know what somebody's willing to pay for it. And as a digital asset like Bitcoin did, it grew in value because people said, hey, there's only going to be a limited amount of them. It's going to be kind of like land. Because it's like land, they're not going to make any more. So that means the ones that we have are going to grow in value. Just like the land that you might own, the house that you own, the assets that you own, they're going to either appreciate or depreciate. At one time, one of these digital assets called Bitcoin was worth $80,000. I don't know what Bitcoin is worth today. It's not anywhere close to 80 because everybody was like, whoa, wait a minute, we got to curve back. We got to curve that back. At one time, Dogecoin was worth 80 cents per each Dogecoin. Now it's worth 12 cents. So on the way up, it gained value as a cryptocurrency and as a currency generally used in the world. But then as that market shrunk, it was worth less. And now it's worth about 11.5 to 12 cents per each crypto coin of Dogecoin. All I'm saying is if the federal government gets involved with this, then all of a sudden they're going to be able to take charge because there's not going to be any more real dollars left. There's only going to be the digital asset of the federal government. Here's the thing. China is also trying to do this. Amazon's trying to get in the crypto market. Walmart's trying to get in the crypto market. Russia, Germany, a lot of different governments are looking at cryptocurrencies because they say that it is secure, although many Bitcoin wallets have been hacked and had money stolen from them. It's not as secure as you would think because if anybody gets a hold of your codes and your keys, right, the keys, I think there's like 11 or 12 keys in a wallet. If anybody gets a hold of your keys, then all of a sudden now you become vulnerable. And if the government has control of the entire system, there are no more dollars that you can bury in your backyard. There are only the digital assets that are controlled by the government. And Joe Biden today issued an executive order that said he wants the federal government to investigate getting into the cryptocurrency market. And the general idea behind these people will be to get rid of hard currency, pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, $half, $1, $5, $10, $100 bills. I don't know about you, but that scares me. You want to know why? Because Canada. Look what happened in Canada. Everybody was sending electronic money using credit cards to Canadians in order to support the Freedom Convoy. And then the government said, we're going to shut that bank down. We're going to shut down the GoFundMe. We're going to freeze all the accounts and we're going to take it. But if we had sent gold up there, if we had sent silver, if we had sent dollar bills, all of a sudden the federal government of Canada could not have stopped that. But they shut down the digital portion of that. Right now, the government has eyes on your bank account. They have eyes on your credit cards. They have eyes on your ATM transactions. They have eyes on anything they want to that's digitally maintained and retained. And the problem with that is that they have the ability to go in there and just tell banks to freeze stuff. They're under investigation. Freeze all their shit. But if you have gold, if you have silver, if you have hard assets, they can't do that. And that's why living in a digital world and the government getting involved is dangerous. Because anything that they can see that you have they can take away from you. Now, they can take other things away from you, but they got to send the cops to your house and they got to arrest you. And then you have your day in court because now you're in a legal system. But digitally, you don't stand a chance. If they freeze your assets, they've got your assets frozen. Now, you've got to start a legal proceeding to go get that unfrozen. There's a big difference in them taking your stuff digitally and them taking your stuff right here from your house. That's all I got to say about that. We need to keep the government out of our digital lives, and we got to keep the government out of our digital pocketbooks. So let's see. That's about it. It was 40 minutes. I'm so sorry. I hope you learned something about crypto. I hope you learned something about the government. I hope you learned something about the way that crypto markets work and about the way cryptocurrency works, about how they're made up and they're digitized and they go from wallet to wallet and they can be traded for hard assets, but they're like a currency, just like any other currency that's out there in the world. They can be traded against dollars. They can be traded against yen. And then that government oversight, if they are in the business and they run the whole thing, how they can actually take all that away from you and they can freeze all your digital assets. We do not want a digital asset to be run as the federal government. Right now, I'm telling you that right now. If there's nothing else you do in your life, fight that. Because if everything is online, they will own you more than they already do. Carolyn says, you explain it like a teacher. I've been in the education business my whole life. That's so funny. So, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's it for Mickey in the middle of the night. Remember, 9 p.m. Hit the like, share, hit the notification bell. Remember, 9 p.m. Central, right here wherever I am, right there wherever you are. Remember, I love you. Thank you for your comments, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you being part of the show. I will see you next time. Remember, embrace your middleness, America. We need you. Take care. You guys be good. Adios. Love you. See ya.